Welcome back, horror fans, cinephiles, and Giallo enthusiasts. This is Tanner Leeser, your host for The King in Giallo, and today I wanted to talk about Vinegar Syndrome and the Forgotten Gialli box sets, and what Giallo films I would like to see in future box sets. So for this list, I will do 9 Giallo films in terms of, because these box sets have 3 films, so let's say these are 3 box sets I would like to see. I tried initially to try and pair some movies together that I thought had a common theme, or at least had like a certain similar directors or like the same actors involved. It wasn't really working out, so I kind of just scrapped that idea. But I will say this as the main caveat of how I'm deciding this. I didn't want to just select movies that I haven't seen, or movies that are like either missing or like really hard to come by, and be like, well, I really want to see that. So I chose Giallo films that I have seen, that I maybe own, but they have not had a good restoration recently, or if they have, they haven't had a US release. So that's how I'm doing this list. Are Giallo films that, first of all, I have seen, that perhaps I even own. I just want to see in a beautiful restoration for a US Blu-ray that I can own and I can watch. So let's get into it. Also, my choices will not be from directors like Dario Argento, Mario Bava, Lucio Fulci, Sergio Martino, or Umberto Lenzi. Any of like the really big directors of the genre, because I feel like, again, you probably can't qualify any of their movies in Forgotten Gialli. But number 9 is Death Occurred Last Night. Now, I watched this movie recently. I found a stream of it, or I found it on YouTube actually, and I had some qualms with it. Ultimately, I did feel the movie should have been a lot better, considering who wrote the novella that it's based on and who's directing it, as well as some of the performances, or some of the performers. But the movie, all in all, wasn't bad. I just feel should have been a little bit more lifted. But I did mention that I would like to see a good restoration of the movie, and I questioned whether that might have helped. I ultimately don't think it would have helped too much. There's just some things that are tonally off for Death Occurred Last Night, but I still think, especially considering it's Duccio Tessari, that the film does deserve to get an update, a little remastery, and I think some people would enjoy it. Number 8 is Naked Violence, which I also watched on the same day, also on YouTube, and also they are both written by the same novelist, Skarbanenko, and they are from the same like quadrilogy of novels. In fact, both Death Occurred Last Night and Naked Violence have the same protagonist. The detective is the same character. Duca is his name, or Ducha. But Naked Violence, I feel, it's just better at adapting the source material, even though it's wildly different based off considering what I've read about it. It went in its own direction, or it kind of just did some things differently. It at least kind of stuck the landing more so. And another reason why I want to see this movie remastered, to also just see updated, better sound, better visuals, is there seems to be a discrepancy where the movie is supposed to run an hour and 39 minutes, but the vast majority of the versions you're going to find are an hour and 32. Now, Raro Video has the DVD in a Fernando De Leo box set of Polizioteschi films, and it's supposed to be the full uncut hour 39, but outside of that, they're all the ones you're going to find online, or at least while I was searching, were the cut versions. And I don't know if these deleted scenes are scenes that occur in the violent attack scene. I think they are, because I've seen a lot of stills online of clips that I don't remember actually seeing in the movie. I still think it would be nice to give this movie a restoration with the full uncut film. And also, watching Naked Violence, the movie was way more tame than what I was anticipating. And I think that's because they cut out most of the kind of rough stuff. And I feel like that does a disservice to the movie. Now, there are certain things that, certain subjects, certain activities that watching them in movies can be very difficult, especially if it's drawn out. But I think Naked Violence would really benefit from the severity of the crime and how Duca is going after these boys. If we actually get to see it. Now, we don't have to see it, but something tells me that it just kind of would, it would actually match the movie. I don't know. Number 7 is A Rather Complicated Girl. And I do have a DVD of this movie, and the DVD came from Spain. And I'm fortunate enough to be able to play it, but the last time it seems like this movie got a release was from Spain on a DVD. And I think it's time the movie got a proper re-release. I do enjoy this, and this isn't a ranking of movies I like, so this isn't to say that I like this more than previous movies. But yes, this movie, you can, when you watch it, you can tell it's a DVD. I mean, it is, but you can tell that like things could be a lot crisper, things could sound a lot clearer, and it would be nice to have this movie restored. And I think a lot of people have been trying to find this movie, at least people in the United States. I know a lot of people have been asking where to find this, and I've told some, well, there is a DVD, but it's going to be from Spain, so you got to be careful about whether you'll be able to actually play it or not. So I think it's time. Number 6 is The Sweet Body of Deborah, and this as well I do have on DVD from Spain, and there's really not much more I can say about this that I also didn't say for A Rather Complicated Girl. It is one of those 60s kind of, it's not necessarily like a staple, but it certainly has become something that a lot of people will point to for 60s Giallo films that one should check out. Both films have actors that are well known to the genre, and so both of them have John Sorrell. Catherine Spock is in A Rather Complicated Girl. Carol Baker is in The Sweet Body of Deborah. It also has Ida Galli and Luigi Pistilli. So both of the movies are like Giallo film star-studded casts, and it's kind of curious why we haven't had a good US Blu-ray release anytime. Number 5 is The Double. There are Blu-rays that I have seen floating around like on eBay, but I don't know if it's out of print or what, but the movie seems rather difficult to track down. Again, John Sorrell, Eva Olin. It's one of those, it's 1971. It's just another film that kind of deserves a re-release. It's time. Number 4 is Psych Out for Murder. Psych Out for Murder is a fun one. I watched it on YouTube, and it's interspliced with clips of the DVD and then a few dashes of cut down clips from a VHS tape, which are horrible quality. And so when I see something like that, I kind of think, all right, let's fix this up. And also, it's good. It's got Adrienne LaRussa. It's got Alberto de Mendoza. Good performances. It's it's not too flashy, but there's a lot to look at, and everything would just look so much better in Blu-ray or high definition. Number 3 is A Quiet Place in the Country. Now, there is a Blu-ray from Radiance that has been going around, but I want a good US release of this movie. This was made the year before Elio Petri made Investigation of a Citizen Above Suspicion, which won Best Foreign Film that year in the Oscars. In Italy, it won Best Actor. I think it also won Best Director, and it was nominated for the Oscars. It was nominated for Best Screenplay, I believe. And so, talking about a different movie, but Elio Petri made this in 1970, and the year before he made A Quiet Place in the Country. And A Quiet Place in the Country is, I can't say it's just as good, but it's pretty damn good. And you get a lot of really unique Giallo style and imagery, following this character played by Franco Nero, who is this struggling artist. And so you're kind of watching his mind fall apart, and he's trying to investigate this death of the countess who lived in the villa that he's renting decades ago. And he's kind of seeing ghostly images of her, and there seems to be a presence in the house, and he's just looking deeper into it. And there's some very unique scenes and shots, and some of the stuff is kind of like, well, I mean, he's an artist, so there's a part where he's painting all the trees outside red, and it just looks really, really beautiful. But then there's also like scenes in the house, and there's like this secret room in the house that's like in a small overhead ceiling, so you have to like kind of get down when you crawl inside. There's a lot to look at in the movie, and Ennio Morricone did the soundtrack, so there's a lot to hear too. Yes, this one also is criminally not talked about, and so I think it would be really good, really important to bring this movie into its limelight. Number 2 is Deadly Sweet. I do have a DVD of this movie, and I would say more so than any Giallo film that I've seen that does not have a Blu-ray, this movie deserves it. It is so much of this movie, its charm comes down to the style of the directing, the cinematography, and the editing. And it's very colorful, and then it'll cut to black and white for no reason, and then it'll cut back into color, and there's a lot of pop art, and it's a very just 60s pop film, as well as it being a Giallo. And watching this movie, I just was like, okay, this comes out on Blu-ray, no questions, I'm rebuying this, because I want to see this in just beautifully restored color. The music and the soundtrack is great. Amazing performances by Jean-Louis Trintignant and Eva Olin. So yes, please, Vinegar Syndrome, get Deadly Sweet. And number 1, and this really is the movie that I want so bad on Blu-ray, and if I could get it from Vinegar Syndrome, I'd be in heaven, is The House with the Laughing Windows. I do have a DVD of this, but it's I bought it like 10 years ago, so I used to collect movies and put them in like these giant binders so I could just carry my movies everywhere, which I know some collectors hate that, which I did keep all my boxes. It's just when you're going to someone's house and you want to bring a bunch of movies, it's a lot easier to bring a book full of 300-400 movies. But anyways, I don't have the DVD to show it to you, but there, can you see it? That's what it looks like. But The House with the Laughing Windows really is, again, one of those very underrated Giallo films, and luckily a lot of people that I know have seen it. It's just, when are we going to get a good Blu-ray remastering of it, or 4K even? Please, I want it. And that's my list. And of course there are other films I would like to see, but there are Blu-rays of them. So for example, Perversion Story, I would love to see it on Arrow or Vinegar Syndrome. That also goes to Lizard in a Woman's Skin, I'd like to see, which again, it's also on Mondo Macabro has a Blu-ray of it. Death Laid an Egg is wonderful, but there is a Blu-ray of it from Cult Epics. So some of these movies have managed to get Blu-ray releases that you can get in the US. They're just not from these big name boutiques, which at the end of the day, it's like if the movie is remastered, re-released, it's got some good special features to go along with it, and it's available in your country, that should be good enough. But for some of us, we really do like the brand that comes with it, and I think a lot of Giallo fans really do like Vinegar Syndrome. And the fact that Vinegar Syndrome has these Forgotten Gialli box sets, and it seems like they're continuing to make these, I think Vinegar Syndrome is going to be the best of these companies in the, like, looking into the future for who's going to give us more re-releases, more remasters. And Vinegar Syndrome, I think you're leading the way on this. I used to collect from Blue Underground, who seems to be out of business. I'm not entirely sure, but I don't see them selling anything anymore. And it's nice to see that Vinegar Syndrome is here, because I kind of see it as the Blue Underground walked so Vinegar Syndrome could run. And those are 9 Giallo films that I would like to see in Vinegar Syndrome's Forgotten Gialli box sets. And please let me know what yours are. I love asking this question because everyone has very different answers. So give me 3, or give me 6, or give me 9, or give me whatever number you want. But just I'm really interested to hear what you have to say. And if you do know of any of these movies that actually do have a US Blu-ray that I completely overlooked, let me know. Every once in a while, I'll have someone reach out to me and say, hey, by the way, I found this on like eBay, or I found this from someone selling it, and I'll look into it and be like, yeah, it looks like a Blu-ray. I don't know all of these companies off the top of my head, but for me, it's like Arrow, Vinegar Syndrome, Severin, Mondo Macabro. There's some others, but those are kind of the big ones where if I see it from them, I'm like, oh, okay, cool, we're good. But yeah, that's all I've got. I'll probably do another one of these sometime in the future. We will see. But yeah, this was kind of a fun list to make. I had to keep changing it because I'd throw movies on here that technically Blu-rays do exist, but like I said, I was just like, yeah, but I want to see this from like Arrow or from Vinegar Syndrome. But I tried to change the list, and I kind of felt like I was squeezing some things on there, but whatever, it is what it is. Anyways, thank you for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and this is Tanner Leeser for The King in Giallo, and if nothing else, I'll see you next time.
What, mi vuoi?